Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Josh. Welcome back to another video. And yeah, you might notice a couple of things. Starters, there's pillows behind me. I don't know why. These are not actually pillows I sleep with. They're just what do you call it? Decorative pillows, I guess. I don't know, whatever. And another thing you might notice, yeah, no beard. Why? I don't know. I got kind of tired of it. And yeah, it's been a while since not only have we talked about like Godzilla related type action figures and all that. It's been a while since I've done like a toy related video since the last thing, well, not counting toy hunts or anything like that. The last thing I talked about, it wasn't even like about something new. It was just me unboxing some Spider-Man figures because I sort of kind of got into that hobby where I don't know. I just really like collecting weird and obscure Spider-Man, specifically the 90s ones. So don't expect me to buy a whole bunch of those, just from the 90s. But we're not talking about the 90s, we're talking about right now because Playmates today had I wouldn't say announced, but there's some pictures going around of two new Godzilla figures, but these ones are quite interesting to say the least. They are called the Titan Tech figures, and basically think of like a 11 or 13-inch Godzilla or Kong figure, but with like tech armor and stuff like that. I'm like, whoa. Sorry about that. I apologize. When I first saw this, I was like, wait a minute, something's weird here, right? And I look at it and I'm like, wait a minute, this is something like completely different, because I gotta say this right now, and I'll show you guys the pictures in a minute, but I gotta say this right now. Up until now, never would I thought that this toy line would actually go into that territory in which we get action figures that aren't really based off of the movies and just off of someone's imagination until now. Because for anyone that's not following, well, just for anyone that's not caught up, obviously. So, I won't explain too much about the history behind Playmates and with them and Godzilla. All I'm going to say is that around, I want to say, the end of 2019 and then into 2020 is a little bit of when they started to kind of let people know that they're making Godzilla toys, basically, right? It all first started with their classics lines, and then they announced that they're going to make figures based off of the Godzilla vs. Kong movie. But of course, due to the certain setbacks and the pandemic, the movie was delayed a lot, but they still made a lot of great figures. They were all very nicely done for the most part. Even if most of the variants were just repaints, it was still a very nice toy line to say the least. And I don't know why I'm pretending that it's not around. It's still around technically. It's just now been rebranded as the Monsterverse since, well, most likely it's I'm not saying it's possible. No, it's definitely happening though. They're definitely continuing the story of Godzilla and Kong, and they even announced that Godzilla vs. Kong 2 is basically coming. I have no idea. I don't know. They just said that there might be a rematch happening. I guess they're gonna come back, and that's great, especially with how things left off. And I've been debating for a while if I should do a video talking about who really won, because I'll be honest with you, no matter how many times I've seen the movie, it's like I want to say this kaiju won, but then this kaiju didn't. I mean, I know Kong is technically not a kaiju; he's more of a giant ape because that's what he is. But he is still a titan. All right, he's still a giant monster that destroys things, even though he doesn't do it on purpose. Because I guess, spoiler alert, I guess Kong, he was sort of the main character in all of this, right? It wasn't really too much about Godzilla, but only because he got his own agenda going on, which has to do with Mecha Godzilla. So, not to get off topic, we gotta talk about the Titan text because it is just so bizarre. They're the most weirdest figures that I have ever seen. And like I say, when you see these figures, they didn't appear in the movies. No, this didn't appear in any of them or anything like that. This is something completely new that somebody made up. So, like I said, it's not distinguished how big they are, so I don't know if they are going to be like the normal 10, 11-inch giant figures, or if they're going to be the 13-inch mega figures, which, trust me, there is a huge difference. Just because a few inches are off, that's not a big deal. They're very thick figures too. I mean, I only own Mega Kong, and I'm sad that I don't have the Mega Godzilla. Although to be fair, he will take up a lot of space on my shelf. But you know what? It's worth it because honestly, this toy line, it's cool. It's amazing. You know, they're really starting to kind of open up, and I'm glad that they're making more figures. So I know I've been talking for literally 5 minutes. I think now I'm gonna have to show you the pictures. All right, if I could get to them. All right. So this was for, and I lost the page. Okay, I do apologize. So basically, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back. I do apologize, right? I'm on Wikizilla because they got a couple of pictures. The first people to really talk about this was a YouTuber named Luminous. He's always up there with like the Godzilla news and all that, though. He pretty much knows like whenever, well, not necessarily him, but basically he's always like the first one to kind of spread out some new information, Godzilla toys related. And the other person in question is some guy named, I believe it's Ned Chang, if I remember. He's a guy on Twitter. I think he lives in like China or something like that. I haven't been caught up in a while, all right? So basically, he's always the ones that gets like the newest Godzilla figures. So without further ado, as soon as this picture renders in HD, there we go. I could finally show you. Well, you might love it or hate it because here we go. This is the Meet Titan Tech Godzilla and then Titan Tech Kong. And okay, I'm gonna have to lower the brightness and then show you the figure itself. So as you can see, judging by the package and all that, it's obviously going to be a ginormous figure. It's without a doubt going to be very similar to the Mega figures, although that's only a speculation though. But there's a reason why people are kind of wondering. Also, if you hear like weird shots in the background, don't worry, they're fireworks. I think. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Whatever, all right? So just keep staring at that big, beautiful bastard because it looks downright interesting, you know? And it's like, at first, it's a little bit of an eyesore because obviously he has a basically like a transformation type action feature. You can't tell, obviously, because my videos are not good quality, so it's not super HD, you know, but you could easily find these pictures on Wikizilla on their website. And if you watch just Luminous and whoever's caught up with the news of these new figures, you'll pretty much get a good idea how these look. Because obviously, me just showing you, I know it's not really too much good because there's a lot of details that I gotta explain. Right, so there's a lot of hinges, there's a lot of like weird things that you have to kind of open up. And obviously, they're not like accessories. They're not something that you just put on him. They're like some weird mechanisms, basically, that you gotta kind of mess around with for the armors to kind of pop out. So as you can see with his leg, if you like kind of, I guess, flip it, I don't know, it shows like some rockets, or I guess it's not bones. I doubt it. But on his side though, you could definitely see something that might resemble like bionic rib cage. I guess I'm gonna try and zoom in, and yeah, that piece. Sorry about that. That piece right there, right? I can't tell if that's like some wiring. I don't know what it is. It honestly just looks like, I don't know. He probably got hurt in the ribs and he needed like a replacement or something, right? And then he got like a weird kind of goofy armor piece. I mean, I don't see how that's gonna protect him. That's the only dumb part. That's not gonna save you, buddy. Against a giant axe, yeah, no way. That's not gonna help out. um, and that's the weird thing too. I mean, he got like some little mini blades too, which I find very interesting choice. He got like a weird armor cannon thing, you know, with a knife. I mean, it looks kind of dumb, but don't let me see, because these are the only pictures I can really find for Godzilla, because some people were showing off more, and there's definitely, he got a lot more going on. There's not really like too many pictures out there to really show everything, you know what I mean? You know, if you know, you get me, right? You guys understand what I'm trying to say, right? You know. Also, hi Dolph Rock, what's up? I didn't forget about you. You know, I try to keep an eye on both on the news and on your live chat too. I always try my best. And we need to talk about Kong, but before I move on to Kong, I do need to mention the main reason why people are very curious about Godzilla is because, well, this is going to sound complicated. This is kind of a story and a half. So I'm going to try and explain this as quick as I can. So originally, before the original toys came out a long time ago before the movie came out in theaters, there was like a leaked picture of the action figures and all that, basically how they were gonna look, and there were obviously like some variety, right? That's what I was gonna say. You got your basics. You got the giant Godzilla and Kong, which was like your basic 11-inch figures, but they didn't really do much. And then you got the mega figures, which were basically ginormous, somewhat pretty articulated figures with some action features. Like for an example, the Mega Kong, he's I think it's a Mega Punching Kong. He got like a punching action feature, and he doesn't come with his axe, so he looks beautiful. Honestly, for a kid's toy, that's pretty good. That's honestly, I love that. And on top of that, they came with a little soldier. There you go. That makes it a lot worth it now. Same goes for Mega Godzilla, but like I say, unfortunately, I don't have him. I could try and look it up online, but I don't want to pay scalper price. So I hope for a re-release, but I doubt it. But I'll find him eventually. I'll get him somehow. And yes, I am obligated to do a review. So yes, in the future, you will see a toy review of some of the Godzilla figures. But in the meantime, let's focus, right? So what happened too is that we know that Mecha Godzilla was going to be in the movie. The only question was, what was his role? All right, this was before we saw the movie and any of the leaks. So basically, originally there was this figure of like Godzilla. It looked like he was in armor, but it got like some weird red stuff going on. So from what people have said, apparently Mecha Godzilla was it could have been two things. Either that was Mecha Godzilla, but with Godzilla's skin, and that red stuff is like the bionic parts, or some people also speculated that maybe Godzilla would have gotten injured and maybe he's gotten like some armor pieces to kind of help him a little bit. But obviously, those figures were scrap, right? That never ended up happening, right? That never came out. And the reason why is because apparently they were doing like reshoots for the movies and whatever. There's a lot of changes, and there's not really too much info on what exactly the changes are going to be. So who knows? Maybe some production issues. Maybe they went back and filmed a few scenes. I don't know. That's a video for a separate day, if I'm being honest with you, because that, without a doubt, we're going to get into some spoiler territory for Godzilla vs. Kong, and I don't want to do that to you guys. I just want to get straight into what's going on with the action figures, right? Because a lot of people have noticed like the sculpting and everything. It looks very similar, but maybe not exactly. So maybe they have the blueprints. Maybe they didn't just want it to go to waste. So, hey, we got this. And I'm just going to say this right now. These figures, this one, in the Titan Tech Kong, it's a very, very big homage to like the old like Treadmasters toy line back in the 90s or so. We're gonna get to that in a bit towards the end, but I gotta show you Kong because him, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna show it to you. I'm gonna show you how Kong looks, right? Until this thing loads up. All right, this thing's acting up, and I do apologize because every time I exit off, I have to go back on. So as soon as I get the Kong, I will show you how he looks. And almost there. Oh, there he goes. Now we're gonna take a look at Titan Tech Kong, and wow, this. Sorry, he got a face and a half, man. I mean. All right, there you go. Now, remember, that's just him in his normal form. Like I say, there's some hinges, you gotta play around with it a little bit for him to actually activate the transformation, and it does show it in the box right there how he looks. And obviously, when you look at him, he looks kind of weird. He looks very broad, so he looks like, and he's very glossy and very, very brown. So okay, at least they're playing with the paint job a little bit, which I like. I like variety when it comes to that. Even though he's technically supposed to be just one type of color, but it is what it is. All right, if I'm being honest with you, you could definitely mistake this Kong for like, I don't know, maybe a lost relative. Can you imagine that? Like a kid playing with like their Godzilla and Kong figures, and then they'll be like, "Oh, Kong's gonna bring out his buddy," and then it's this, and it's like, "Oh, okay." Now, yeah, you look at it, and it looks like him. Looks how he is. Except how broad he is. I forgot to mention that with the Godzilla figure too. A lot of people said that he looks very boxy, if that makes sense. And so if you look at some of the pictures in the leaks, it does show that he looks kind of like a little bit of a rectangle, but that's because he's hiding all the tech stuff and all that. So I would assume when you put all that tech stuff on him, he'll look 1,000 times better. He'll look great. Now let's look at the other picture too. If yeah, this thing is gonna, yep, it's gonna slow down. Okay, I knew it. Like I say, every time I try to go to the pictures, it's gonna, yeah, it's gonna do that. So yeah, it's not my phone. It's the way the website is set up. No offense to Wikizilla, because once in a while I do check up on them to see if there's some new stuff going on. And hey, there we go. Today we got two new Godzilla figures. But don't leave yet. We're not done yet. I still gotta show you how he looks, and he looks cool, but no, this has to be a meme. This has to be like a complete joke. Who thought of this? Who's the executive? Who's in charge of doing this? They gave my boy shades, and I'm like, why? I don't get that. I mean, everything else looks cool. I won't lie. His axe, oh my god, do I love his axe. Look at the way it looks, all bionic, you know? It looks like it's the future, which is kind of ironic because technically Godzilla vs. Kong does take place in the future. It takes place in like 2024 or 2023, something like that. It takes place, I believe, 5 years. I don't remember. There is sort of a time distance between Godzilla King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong. So yeah, and I mean, some of the bionic stuff is weird too. We definitely got to talk about that, especially that weird armor piece. It says Monarch on it. So okay, I see you. Okay, so you know what? Just say it. Kong is a good guy and Godzilla's evil. Just say it. All right, you don't gotta, because I know that technically in Godzilla King of the Monsters, he was. I want to say he was a good guy. It's hard to explain. That's like literally like a movie review. I got to like explain everything and all that because yes, there's a lot to it. But Godzilla vs. Kong, well, I can't really explain it without spoilers, so no. Let's just talk about the toy, right? Let's talk about the figures. Now, as you can see, he got like that weird thing going on with his leg. You gotta kind of lift that. And honestly, I look back at it. If you're a ninja, if you guys know anything about Ninja Turtles, I'm gonna say this right now. It reminds me a little bit of the original Mutations Foot Soldier back in the 90s, and by pure coincidence, also made by Playmates, making this figure. They did like a line where like a toy line where the turtles can switch from like teenagers to like back to their baby forms, it's kind of dumb when you look at it, but they're from 1993, so what do you expect? They're gonna look goofy. And with the Foot Soldier, even though it's technically not a mutation because the Foot Soldier is a robot, one of the features is that you could like lift like a part of his leg and it'll show like the wires and all that. That's what that reminds me of. You lift that up and it shows like, honestly, you can't really call it armor. Did something happen to them? Because I have to talk about their arms though. If you see that, that's weird, right? It's like it's extending his arm. And it's not armor. Definitely, it's not armor. It's not a blurry picture. It's an HD quality picture. So I know that that's not armor. They are legit like stretching his arm. He's going like full. Like I don't know. I don't know how to describe it at this point. It is such a weird choice. Well, not as weird as the shades, obviously. I mean, I don't know. They don't talk, so I don't know what he's communicating with. I mean, unless it's one of those like communication things where it's like, Kong, listen up. You gotta take down those skull crawlers and freaking Tokyo. You don't mind, Yeah, maybe, I mean, he's not gonna say anything because he got like the freaking thing and everything. But you know what? I'm not gonna question it. It's so stupid and goofy, but I love it. It's like, it's creative in a sort of weird, dumb, twisted way. It's like you want to insult it, but you can't, man. You just can't. I really like them. I won't lie. I don't know about you guys, all right? Look, you guys know me. I have bad taste, okay? I was literally talking about like how Playmates was also making like a TMNT and Street Fighters 2-pack, and people obviously shit on them because they were basically reusing the same turtle sculpts from like their past lines and all that. And the Street Fighter figures people thought were but I'll be honest with you, they look pretty decent for the most part. But still, you gotta agree, this is definitely interesting. And I was shocked because a lot of people actually like these. I was surprised with the initial reaction. They were actually quite surprised with how well it looked, you know? Yeah, of course, obviously, you're gonna get a few people complaining that it looks terrible and all that, and, you know. It is what it is, obviously, you know, it's no biggie. You know, it's can't really trend on that. But another thing we gotta mention before we end the video is the Godzilla Treadmasters comparison, right? So for anyone that don't know, you know, they made like a whole toy line. Had a couple of different names. It was the Godzilla Doom Island and the Godzilla. I think it was just called King of the Monsters toy line, basically by Treadmasters, and the figures were very odd. You know, they kind of look like this, basically. You know, that was kind of like America's Godzilla toys back in the day. And honestly, when people saw these, they probably thought that these were like, I don't know, made up from someone's mind, because technically, a lot of the Godzilla movies in the 90s, you know, they didn't really came out till like very, very late. So by the time they did came out, not too these figures weren't around for long. But if I'm being honest with you, I don't know too much about the Treadmasters line, so I'm not gonna like give off false information like that. So I'm just gonna make the comparison that they did something very similar, right? They actually did like a whole gear thing called battle armor and all that. And this is one pic. They probably made a whole bunch, but this is one picture I could find, and a lot of people are basically comparing. Like that's basically what Playmates is doing, and you know what? I agree that I like that they're doing that. It's like an homage. You know, it's almost like they want to make like kids' toys for children, but they also kind of want to appeal to the adults, which kind of makes sense because there's no longer any collectibles of Godzilla out there. Because yes, I know it's upsetting, but it's a harsh reality. NECA no longer owns the toy line, so they can't do figures. Playmates is basically the holders right now. They're the ones in charge, but obviously people don't really like that for reasons which I can't explain in the video. I really can't, only because we'd be here for a while and I don't want to do that. All right, I just want to talk about my opinions, my thoughts for 20 minutes on two figures. But you know what? I think that's reasonable, right? You know, but you know, I can't wait. What's the problem though? Yeah, these are leaks, so who knows when they will come out? Do we know when they're gonna come out? I don't know. How much are they gonna cost? I don't know. The mega figures, they were like $34.99, which is not bad. Considering that apparently they were originally 40, which definitely would have been a little bit too much. So yeah, who knows? Only time will tell. So for the video, I'll show you one last time. You know, the goods. You know how they look. You know, I'll show you Kong. It's Future Kong, right? It's Bionic Kong. Come on now, let's be real here. Maybe this is like an alternate universe, or like it's like maybe I don't know 2099. You know, like Spider-Man or Hulk 2099. I don't know if you read like the comics and whatever, but there's a weird kind of blue Spider-Man, and then Hulk. He's like this weird kind of like creature. He doesn't even look like the Hulk. He looks like an abomination on drugs, but not in the bad way though. Let me show you Godzilla before I end the video. Because yeah, that's about it. That's all I gotta talk about today. Very unexpected, obviously. I was not expecting these at all. And I know you guys probably weren't either. So yeah, you know what? I can't wait. All right. This makes me very happy, actually. I like it. I might as well show you the boxes too. So there's numero uno, dos, and tres, and cuatro. Right now it's not letting me. Okay, but you get the point. You get the point. I don't need to go on much longer. That's all I gotta say, really. Yeah. So even though I talk about the positives, what's my negatives? Nothing. Sorry for the shades thing. That is kind of weird, but it does look kind of interesting. The Godzilla figure, I know with the whole box issue, like the way he looks, but I'm going to wait a little longer just to see how it'll look because I can imagine how impressive they're going to be in person. I'm ready. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready. Right? I mean, I've been ready for a while. I mean, come on, Playmates. When are you going to release King Ghidorah? We know you're going to make a King Ghidorah figure. We've seen the pictures. They're not prototypes. So it's bound to get released eventually. It's just when? Well, we're going to have to sit down and wait. So until then, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like what you saw, leave a like, subscribe if you're not subscribed so you can catch up with all the weird stuff I talk about, talk about a lot of random things. So, yeah, you never know what type of conversations I got. Dislike it if you dislike it, and that's about it. All right, so have a wonderful night, and I'll see you guys. I mean, I hope tomorrow. I wouldn't mind. All right, I always got ideas. I always got plenty of videos to make, but stuff happens, and I'm not always able to make videos on time like how I should, and I don't like to break promises. So hopefully we can try and not do that. So yeah. See you guys on the next one.